Hello, darling soul, and welcome to the Era of You podcast. Today's conversation is going to hit home for a lot of you because I know this has been a theme for the collective for 2025. And this is about how do we get over the mid-year wobble and start over. And for some of you, start over may mean that you're actually starting something completely new, or it may mean that you're actually just starting over. And this is a case of, hey, I need to pick my feet back up. I need to reassess where I've been, what I'm doing, and I just need to kind of gain my momentum. And for others, this may actually be like, Kylie, I am starting over. Maybe this year has been a full redirect for you, and most likely an awakening of sorts, because I know that has truly been the theme. If we look at the cosmos this year, what's happening astrologically, there's quite a few transits. I even had this come through in my astrology email this week that I did, that there's actually a transit happening that hasn't happened, I think I speak under correction, since the 1940s. So we're in for a treat. There's a lot of change happening this year, and we can feel it. We can see it in the world. We can see it in what's happening with the current political climate. We can see it in societal structures. There is a lot of, hey, we either need to start over here or we need to start new. And so today, as you know, with every podcast, we open up with a tarot reading to see what's coming through as divine guidance. And how ironic, I always say this when I read the tarot, you can't make this up. Literally the Five of Wands with the Hermit. So it's time to let go of that inner struggle, that inner battle that you've been holding on to. And I find that this is actually just allowing us to start really deep with this topic of pretty much getting over yourself and just allowing yourself to go after that big dream again or start over. And I say that in the most loving way, because I know how we can get in our own heads. And this is what the Five of Wands is really here to say. We often get in our heads so much about just beginning again. And the older we get, the more expectation we put on ourselves. And this is kind of already leading into, which I love, which is divine guidance, leading into the little notes I made for today's podcast, is there is an art of letting go. There's really an art of letting go. And if you want to step into your next chapter, if you want to step into actually really rising into now becoming the person you've always wanted to be, you've got to master the art of letting go. And that also means not necessarily letting go of the past experiences and healing from them, but it also means allowing yourself to grieve the loss of the person you once were. And that often comes with needing to let go of expectation as well, and disappointment. I find that they kind of dance with each other, and there's a yin and yang effect of sorts. It's literally what I'm seeing in my mind right now. Because we often hold on to this idea or this image of, this is what I want to do with my life, or this is where I want to be in my relationship, or this is what I want to achieve, or this is who I want to be. And especially in this day and age, there's something really potent about being alive right now. There is a lot of redirection happening. And you might have found that throughout this year, most likely throughout even last year, you've been redirected a lot. You think you're going one way with your life, whether it's in your health journey, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your friendships, whether it's in your relationship. There's a lot of change that's been happening over the past couple of years. And it's like you think you're on your way with something. You think you're on your way towards something. And then when there's a sudden redirect that has to happen, that's actually very confronting, because in that moment, you have to let go of this image that you've held so close to your heart, one that you've probably had a lot of, yes, celebration, but also a lot of battle with, one that you've also felt a lot of kind of, yeah, like it's been hard, and it's probably taken you through some of your deeper shadows. It's probably taken you through some of your biggest fears, and you've really had to grapple with it. And then suddenly letting go of something that you feel like you've worked so hard towards achieving, or so hard towards becoming, is really hard. And it can at times feel like a failure. And I completely understand why it does, because it's like, well, we've been working so hard, we've been holding this so dearly in our mind's eye. Why are we not there? Are we like copping out because we're like, well, I'm not good enough? Are we copping out because it's not meant for us? Or did we not do our part? There's a lot of inner critics that can often come up when you finally decide to pull the handbrake and start over. Because until you decide that you're going to start over or start something new, even though you're just in this limbo phase, if you don't initiate the next chapter, you're still in the old one. Even if you didn't achieve the things that you wanted to, even if you didn't move in life or gain the momentum that you wanted, even being in a little bit of a limbo is kind of like you're accepting, okay, I'm just here, but I'm still holding on to my dream. I'm still holding on to it, just like on the far edge. But until you officially decide that you're going to start over and you're like, okay, I'm drawing my line in the sand. I'm now going to like finally start doing this thing. I'm finally going to start my next chapter. You're still holding on to that past you. And we, like I said, we often keep ourselves stuck in that limbo because what we make it mean weighs a lot more than what we're experiencing. We make it mean a lot more of like, oh, I'm failing, or people going to judge me, or I'm not doing enough, or this just confirms my shadow that I don't feel like I'm enough. Like, it brings up all this internal dialogue and internal battles, as opposed to just actually sitting with where you are at this experience and honoring yourself. Actually really looking and asking yourself, okay, well, right now, am I happy with where I am at life? Am I happy with who I am? Is this what I'm feeling called to do? Am I honoring my potential? Am I honoring myself? Am I actually honoring the fact that I am a limitless human being and I can achieve whatever I desire? Or am I keeping myself in a place that's familiar and safe? And am I just allowing myself to kind of just stay here because not achieving it or not going after the big things or not creating drastic change in my life feels safer to handle? I feel more capable of that. And so actually, when we finally decide to start over, as you go through the art of letting go, that's the first part I really want you to note down. If I want to move into this next phase of my life, you have to be okay to let go. And let go also of how your past experiences have defined you. This is really big. I had a tarot reading not too long ago, and a lot of the work that I do is based in trauma as well. And when people have experienced traumatic events in the past, and that's really shaped and cultivated them, but they're like, this is not who I am, and this is not my potential, and I want to cultivate my identity in my life past my trauma. And as I had this tarot reading, it was so interesting because every time I had a conversation with this person, they kept identifying with their past. And there was a traumatic event that happened 12 years ago, over a decade ago. And so much of this person's identity was still in that experience. And it came to a point in the reading where I said to this individual, I'm like, my work is so deeply within trauma, and so I speak with so much compassion and understanding and love. But you need to come to a point in your healing journey where you no longer allow your past to identify you. You no longer allow that power, because that is how we actually allow ourselves to move forward in life, is by no longer holding on to the identity our past experiences have given us. And this is so hard to actually do because it happens in such a duality in the life that we live today. On one hand, if we look at how we define success and we look at how we define leaders that we very much look up to and people that we admire and what society deems as admirable, a huge focus point for that is actually based on what you've done in the past, right? We always look at that. Okay, but what did you do in the past? If I think of university as well, okay, but what have you gone through? How many hours have you done? There's always a recognition for the past to define who you are as an individual. And if you studied so many years, then you immediately gain a certain level of respect. So we have all these subliminal little messages, not to say that they're good or bad, but just actually noting how we have created this conditioning We have these little subliminal messages sent everywhere to us that your past holds the weight of who you are as a person. So even when we go through something incredibly traumatic, or we go through disappointment and heartbreak and failure and things of the past, we immediately allow them to carry a significantly larger weight of who we are as individuals. And that influences your self-worth, that influences your self-esteem, who you believe you are, what you believe you're worthy of receiving, what you believe you're capable of. And unless you actually allow yourself to cut those cords, you'll continuously be in this rut in life, is the best way for me to describe this feeling, where it's like you're trying your utmost best to move forward, but you keep looking back. You keep looking back either in comparison to what you used to have, and that's not what you have now, and you're like, I need to make up for lost time or lost experiences. Or you keep looking back of like, I don't want to experience that again. They just gave me away, and you're just trying to run away from it. But the fact that you're always looking back means that it's literally creating the foundation of who you are and what you're moving forward with. Because every time we look back, we ingrain it deeper and deeper and deeper into our subconscious minds and our psyches. So what do you need to let go of? And it's hard. It's a grieving process to let go, even of oneself, letting go of the thought of who you once were and being okay with that. And I want you to honor yourself too. Honor yourself in the process and let her know that, you know what, I'm so proud of you for bringing me this far in life. I'm so proud of everything you did. It's not that we're abandoning the past versions of ourselves, because they don't want to be abandoned. That's why they keep resurfacing, and they're probably self-sabotaging you in subliminal ways of moving forward in what you want in life and actually starting over. But it's really important that you give yourself the permission to let go. And that also means giving yourself the permission to let go of pain. It sounds so weird because as human beings, we're wired to move away from pain and just completely move towards pleasure, yet we hold on to pain the most. We hold on to pain the most. And if you really look at it on a nervous system level, it's most likely because you've been conditioned to love pain. You've probably experienced more pain in your life as even a form of a love language than love and nurturing and caring. And that soft feminine side, it's always kind of been from this wounded element. And so on a nervous system level, pain feels better to receive than pleasure. So we've also got to teach ourselves to be okay to let go of the pain and step into receiving the pleasure. Like, that is huge within itself. So in the art of letting go, what is the next step? Acceptance. I just want you to breathe and land with where you are right now. And this kind of leads me to the second tarot card that dropped out for today. When I see the Hermit, he is holding like his wand. He's ready to go into his next chapter of life. He's actually looks down in a very humbling way. He's just been humbled, and he has this lantern that he's carrying that's lighting the way forward. But this lantern holds a star. The star is his dream. The star is his vision. I really love the tarot, just as a side thought, because I say this so often when I read the tarot. You can't make this up. And literally all the little listen to me, all the little notes that I made for today as I really sat in for today's episode are literally being reflected in the tarot right back to me. And I'm just like, divine guidance. So with the Hermit, he very much represents the present and the future that you want to focus on as you're allowing yourself to get over this funk, get over this wobble, and move forward in life. It firstly represents that ability to just be with where you are now. So I just want you to take a deep breath in, let it go, and just land with where you are now. Just accept that this is where you are. And acceptance is the hardest part for the ego to really step into, because acceptance comes from that moment in time where you can really just acknowledge the part you had to play in getting here, and also acknowledge the parts you had no control over in getting here. Because that is the thing about life. We equally ride the wave as we are the conscious creators. And that's why we have this beautiful dualistic play, and you've probably seen it in all your manifestation teachings, is move forward with your intention, move forward with your belief, move forward with your frequency, but you've got to surrender. You've got to let go. And that is the equal play in life. We are both conscious creators, but we also have to surrender. And so just to have acceptance, stop fighting with yourself, stop beating yourself up. You're here now. You wouldn't be the person you are today if all that in the past didn't happen to you. You wouldn't be the person. You wouldn't be sitting here with your knowledge. You wouldn't be sitting here with your experiences. You wouldn't be shaped into who you are if those things did not happen. And it's not that we're sitting here, and this is also the art of gratitude, by the way. It's not that we're sitting here and we're like, it's okay what happened. I'm just going to love and light it and bypass it and gaslight myself into believing that somehow it was all for my highest good, even if some of it was really not great to go through. We're not dismissing ourselves, but we're actually giving ourselves the permission to experience freedom. And freedom often from the mental cages that we build for ourselves. Because again, it's like the mind loves to hold on. It loves to hold on to what it only knows. And so give yourself that permission to have the acceptance of where you are right now. Give yourself that freedom. But then simultaneously allow this next chapter of your life to become a ceremony of improvement. Allow it to become a spiritual practice for you. And actually look back at your life. And this comes into reassessing and reevaluating. I look back at experiences that I had in the past that were incredibly traumatic and really disrupted me, or things that really threw me off course or broke my heart or hit rock bottom and I had to get up, or I burnt out, whatever it may be. I look back at these past experiences and I always say to myself, if I look at what I did, and a lot of the things were lessons I had to learn, and they kind of just happened to me, and I wasn't as aware of the things I am now. If that happened, imagine if I started living really intentionally. Imagine if I cultivated the wisdom from those experiences and I became really intentional with who I am. Imagine what I could create for myself moving forward. And I feel like that is the most powerful realization we can reach, especially as a very ambitious and high achieving individual, is you've achieved great things in the past, but then you hit a wobble and something happened and it feels like you just started dropping your balls or things started falling apart. Where now it's like, okay, cool. I've learned my lesson. Imagine I started to intentionally cultivate the wisdom and the skills that I learned then. Now moving forward, imagine what I could create. Give yourself the permission to be curious and excited again for what you want. That just dropped in. Chamomile tea is amazing. Give yourself the permission to be curious about what you want moving forward, about your life, about what's possible for you, but also really excited. Like, get excited again. What a gift it is to be alive. Now, as you see the card of the Hermit here, with acceptance, there's a part as well in starting new or starting something over that you also need to land in the deep acceptance that this is going to be a new journey. Can you really just land in that acceptance that this is going to be a new journey? I, for the most part of this year, have felt really rocky behind the scenes. And it's been a lot of starting over. It's been a lot of reevaluating. It's been a lot of reassessing. And I actually created a reel about this the other day where I was like, I'm giving myself permission to go after my big dreams again. Like, there was a little part of me that really felt it this year where I was like, damn, like there's so many big dreams I had, like, so many dreams of who I wanted to be as a woman, of what I wanted to achieve, of what I wanted to create in this world, really the kind of like this artist's way. And this year I was like, I'm done waiting. I'm done sleeping. It's time to go do all the big things. And the biggest thing that was a catalyst for me, that really got me into stepping into this next chapter and really speed up this process, was actually just coming to a point of accepting that I'm now starting a new journey. It's like the card of the Hermit. I am now starting a new journey and I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward in a completely new chapter, and I need to be okay with that. I need to be okay that I'm starting a new timeline. I need to be okay that I'm climbing the ladder and I'm starting at quote unquote the bottom again. However you see a journey metaphorically in your mind. And the moment I could accept that I'm on a new journey, I'm on a new timeline, it also dropped the comparison. It dropped the comparison I had to past experiences, It dropped the comparison of where I thought I had to be right now in my life, or who I thought I had to be, or what I thought I had to achieve. It even dropped the comparison that I was feeling towards other people, whether it was peers or just people that I see in my space or my industry. And it reignited this curiosity and courage and also confidence, because I was like, cool, if I'm starting a new journey, I have a lot more skill set with me. Like this like hermit wizard man here, I'm carrying a little bit more with me, tools, if I can think of it as such. So we're actually going to have a really good ride because we've up-leveled. And this is also leading me into another point. Start to see this new chapter as a project. I now think of it as the higher self project. That is whenever I'm up-leveling or upgrading life, because I know that I will reach this point again when I'm ready to take a step up in where I want to be. See it as a higher self project. Literally gamify your life. So every day, what is the 1% you can give in? What is the intentional input, your 1% that you can give every day, so that you can step into your higher self timeline? That is one of the best ways that we can actually just start, is often, especially when you finally reach this point where you're like, okay, it's time for me to go after the things that I really want. You're going to sit there and you're going to actually just want to have achieved the dream already. I find that that is the number one problem with high achievers and big dreamers. We know the dream so clearly. But then when we start, we've received the vision, but when we start, we're like, well, the human experience isn't there yet. I still have to, I'm seeing point A to point Z, but I still need to fill in all the letters in between. So what is the 1% you can give yourself today? What is the 1%? Does that mean that you need to actually just sit and reflect, write it down, and be like, what have been my habits over the past few months? What am I noticing on my patterns? Where am I standing in the way? Just be really honest with yourself. Can we just quit bullshitting ourselves and just be honest? I mean, just imagine we were honest with ourselves. The world that we would open up for ourselves and in retrospect for other people then as well, if we were just honest. Wild. So be honest with yourself, and perhaps right now your 1% is actually just doing an honest assessment and then figuring out what you want to move forward with. That is the thing about the hermit. He's got a star. He's got a dream that's driving him forward. When you want to start over or start something new, and this is, even though this is like the mid-year wobble, this could even be the midlife wobble, this could be the mid-20s wobble, this could be like, I just reached a point in my life where I'm wobbling and I need to redirect my sails. You've got to cultivate and spend time cultivating the dream. Because often when we're in that wobble, we're just looking for the thing to get us out. We're just looking for the momentum to start in whatever direction it may, so that we can just move forward. We're like just looking for out, right? Where we haven't really spent time cultivating the dream. And this is something I noticed as well this year. As the more clear I got on my vision, the more my fire and momentum towards achieving it grew. Because I was like, yeah, I know where I want to go, but there was a little bit of disappointment that I still held onto, where I had this dream in my 20s of like where I wanted to take my life. And when it hit me this year of like all the places I was kind of playing, where I was playing small and selling myself short, I had to be okay to let the dream go that I held onto for so long. And then also build up the courage and the belief again to go after a new dream. Because I've grown, I've matured again. Now looking at the dream I have, I wouldn't have this meatiness and beauty and just really like heartfelt dream if I didn't go through all those experiences. So I'm like, of course, I'm where I am right now. I see the intersection and I see why it's here. But I had to spend time cultivating it again. And the thing is, when you start really tapping into cultivating your dreams again, you will notice where your level of belief is. And that's very powerful. Because if you're struggling right now to be like, okay, but I want to start over, I want to start again, but I don't have exactly, like, I just want to get the momentum going and then I'll know where I'm going. And I'm like, my darling, that means you don't fully believe in your dream yet. You're still going to start playing small. Because we as human beings, it's part of our gift, it's part of our ability to step into higher actualization. The thing that drives us is literally our vision, your third eye. It's literally your third eye. Your vision is what drives you forward. When you have a vision, the rest becomes a lot easier to fall into place to. When you have a vision of who you want to be as an individual, how you want to live your life, it's not just saying this. This is not to say we have to have all the answers. This is not saying that we have to have it all figured out. This is not saying that you need to know exactly to the T where you're taking your life. No. But have a vision, have an idea of what you want to move towards. Dream. We have this beautiful ability as human beings to dream. Think of the person you want to be. Think about what do you want your life experiences to be? What do you want to open yourself up to? What new things do you want to allow into your life? The moment you can bring meat to your vision, it's a lot easier for you to stay the course. Because then you know exactly when you're self-sabotaging. Then you know exactly when you're not playing your part. Then it's also a lot simpler and easier for you to break down what are the things I need to do so that I can actually achieve the goal. What are the things I need to do? As opposed to just like feeling like you're running around as a headless chicken in life, feeling and hoping you're doing all the best things, as opposed to being like, hey, I get to actually live in simplicity and know exactly what I want and then break it down to how to get there. So release the need for chaos and release the need for anything to need to validate you in going after something bigger or better for yourself, even if you haven't achieved it yet or things didn't work out in the past. Okay. It's really okay. And I think this is the beauty that we have as human beings. And especially in this day and age, because I think this conversation wouldn't hold a lot of weight if it was like 40, 50, 60 years ago. But now we've created a lot of options and resources for ourselves to be able to start over. Your life is so sacred. Give yourself the permission to start over. Now, with that being said, in closing off thoughts, and I'm going to pull a last tarot card and see what comes up. I want you to narrow your focus down to the next 5 months only. Now, this is where I'm getting really excited because this is part of like my work that I've been doing behind the scenes as well. So I love sharing this because like this stuff has impacted me so much this year. I've got goosebumps now. I stopped focusing on what do I want a year from now? What do I want even 6 months from now? I've never done a 5-year plan either because I'm like, we shift and change and grow and evolve so much. 5 years. But I found that 6 months always used to just be a little too far. It's far enough for me to see the weight of the impact of the momentum I can create, but it's also far enough for me to keep pulling up the handbrake if I want to somewhere and getting in my own way. Where 5 months is a really sweet spot. Five is also the number of embodiment, by the way. So there's like a numerology, let's just say it as such, numerology to it. And 5 holds the weight of embodiment. So when you think of 5, it's just a little bit further than 3. So there's no urgency of like, oh my goodness, I have to get this done now. Because we don't do that. But it's also in the case of like, there's a lot that can happen in 5 months. That is exciting. So I want you to narrow your focus down and ask yourself for the next 5 months, what am I focusing on? And make it as simple as possible. And throughout the thread of this entire conversation and all these steps, honesty is going to be your best friend. The more I worked on like healing my worthiness, I need to put this in here. The more I worked on healing my worthiness, the simpler my life became. Because I've been able to now, from a place of I've stripped away needing the external validation. I've stripped away not feeling unworthy. I've really cultivated belief. There's been this like wholesome, almost like system upgrade is what's coming to my mind. The more I started like rooting for myself and becoming my own best friend and loving myself and everything we actually had in this conversation today, like acceptance and letting go and just landing with where I'm at and building my dreams again and all these things, the more that cultivated worth. And that is like a key component to today. This work, when you apply this work, even just doing your 1% every day, because that means you're showing up for yourself, you're not breaking promises, you're building self-trust. These things are magical. It will build your worth. Okay, so this episode is really potent. The moment I built my worth, my life became simple because it was really easy for me to decipher what do I actually want versus what I think I need to have or what's just the noise. What do I actually need to do to get me forward? Not because I've got my own self-worth tied into how much work I'm doing or not doing. Not because I'm doing all the things I think I need to do or have the things I think I need to have or be the person I think I need to be. What do I actually just need to focus on doing? And just because it's simple doesn't always mean it's easy, but when it's simple, there isn't chaos. And our decision-making abilities as human beings, cognitively, thrive in simplicity. It's a lot easier for you to make the right decisions and show up in alignment with who you want to be when you have simplicity to make your decisions from. So this could even be a very potent step is ask yourself, where can I simplify my life right now and cut out the noise? Whether that is applications, whether you put a do not disturb on your phone at certain times. I started reading more, and that was my way of quietening my brain and stepping into my simple era. Whether that means reassessing who your friends are and who you keep around, whether that means actually creating a spreadsheet for yourself or downloading Notion so that you can track what you're doing with your day, whatever works for you. But simplify your life and clean out your cupboards. Clean out your cupboards, clean your house. I'm on a cleaning spurge again. It started with a garden this weekend and it's going to move through my whole house, where I often do this once a year where I just either donate, I throw away, or I sell. Those are my 3 things. And I'm like, let's just keep it as simple as possible. It also allows energy to move. The more you simplify, the more you will build your self-worth. And the moment you actually sit in that self-worth, you will find that you will relentlessly reinvent yourself in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Because this wobble, this time of reinvention, it's going to come again. You're going to reach a point in life where you're going to want to start something new, because we evolve and grow as human beings. It's part of our beautiful privilege of being human. Or you're going to be like, I just need to start over because maybe I lost myself along the way, and that's also okay. But what's really going to cement this all for you is your self-worth. Okay, so let's see. One last card. This will create the stability for you. 4 of Wands. The card of celebration, the card of stability, the card of home, the card of just feeling anchored. And you will find that the restlessness that you've been feeling, if you just gave yourself this permission, use this episode to give yourself that permission to just actually go after the damn thing and live a great life, make yourself proud, you'll feel so peaceful. Because even though I can say, even though it's been really interesting this year and I've been in a lot of spaces of new things and letting go of old things and starting new things and maybe starting over even in some senses. Even though it's been a lot, it's been very peaceful. And that's something that I've told probably anyone close to me this year whenever they checked in. I would say there's a lot happening, but even though my humanness wants to freak out, my soul feels at peace. And that is a lot. That is how we are able to hold ourselves from a higher self perspective and step into the era of you.